Hello? And welcome to The Fool and the Philosopher.
The Philosopher and the Fool?
What are you making fun of me for? Alright, that's that. You don't get to hear our names. Yeah, when I read the... I went to bed around, like, page 1,000 and something.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next day, at like a bit after lunch, I started reading again. And the next 3 pages are like the most intense in the entire book.
Yeah.
And I was like... And then like the book for the last like 300 pages of the book is just like sheer like nonstop awesomeness and like boom, boom, boom. Yeah. And I am so glad I went to sleep when I did. I had no idea this was coming.
Yeah, see, I think I was at 900.
Yeah.
And then it took me ages, because around page 900, the book's kind of miserable.
Yeah.
And then I got around to like page 950ish, and like took another break, got around to page 1000, and then kept reading to the point where you talked about. I actually did take a break in between, so I stopped, but that's like when I read a whole bunch.
So I'd like to actually talk about the Stormlight Archive slightly.
Yeah.
Not spoilery, but just Kaladin a little bit. I think he might be the best representation of a depressed person in any book I've ever read.
Really?
Like, I think he shows what depression is like better than just about anyone. Like, Shalyn, her split personality thing, she refuses to think about something and doesn't have memories of doing things, which I find difficult to believe is possible.
I think he did, like,
consult someone with...
schizophrenia.
No.
No?
No.
Multiple personalities, or...?
Yes. Schizophrenia is hallucinating.
Oh, okay.
And, hallucinating. Yeah. Multiple personality... No, dissociative identity disorder.
Right.
Is wanting something to not have done by you, not wanting to have done something so badly that you convince yourself it was someone else.
Okay.
Which I think is something I could do.
Yeah.
I think if like I don't know if you could do it or not. I think I could do it. I wouldn't, because, and I think basically everyone would agree, it's fairly cowardly and disingenuous to yourself.
I have done it, and I've killed every personality that's not my own.
Huh.
When I was in grade 8, I had a slew of stuff I was going through. Like a lot of hormones, a lot of emotions, not knowing where you are in the world. And I actually did have a bit of dissociation, but I killed all those.
I'm not convinced I went through puberty. This whole like, oh, it's awful in the hormones, I'm just like, what?
Well, why I say I was going through a lot is I don't know what was going on in my brain for about 2 years.
Right.
And it was a mix of, I think, making choices of how I wanted to see my life go, and also probably hormones probably cooling down a little bit. That, like a mix of those two things that got me to where I am.
Well, it's
Yeah, no, grade 8 and grade 9 were a bit of a murky mental thing for me, but then grade 10 I basically stabilized out of
the fact that he consulted with someone for Shalyn makes reading her parts terrifying to me, because she is so obviously ill. Yeah, it's like heart-wrenching, and it's disturbing on a level that is like, if it was fiction, and like it is fiction, but the fact that he got a consultant means this can happen, and people experience this. And you look at this and you think, how can anyone be so horribly broken? Yeah. Like, the fact that you will have 3 different names for yourself, 3 different mannerisms. Imagine you were a soldier in one life. Imagine you were a thief in one life, and then your normal life. Yeah. And, like, hide your past from yourself. I don't even know how that's... No, I do know how that's possible. I have done something similar before, to a lesser degree. However, on a scale of I need information, but I cannot access it because I'm preventing myself from getting it, is for an entire several year period of my life, is fairly incredible. Yeah. I don't even know if that's realistic, or if it might have just been like, it might not be that hard in a way. Like, she doesn't actually need to erase several years. She needs to erase key events that make her look at the years differently. Yeah. But the other thing is how people react to Shalyn. Like her, Adolin.
Her husband.
I was avoiding spoilers.
Oh, sorry.
But her Adolin
Yeah.
Gives treats each personality as its own distinct person in an attempt to help her, and he doesn't know how to help her.
Yeah.
And so he's doing what he can to at least make her feel okay in the world.
Yeah.
And it's in that situation, I have no idea what I would do.
I think that Adeline is probably doing one of the best things he can in a way.
You're playing into their fantasy, which I think is bad. But I don't think making them resent you will help in the slightest.
Well, also, Adeline's trying to make every single one of her personalities like him.
Yeah.
And...
give them a point of common interest.
Yeah, basically. Because each one of them wants to protect him.
I think, if someone's really overweight, saying to them, you're fat, doesn't do anything. If you come to them as a friend and say, hey, you need dieting tips or something. I don't know what you would say exactly.
Fat and ugly, need help.
But if you come to them from a place of honesty and genuineness, I haven't had to do this, and maybe I should, I don't know, with people, but it seems difficult. But if you're that's one thing, but adversarial confrontation typically leads to the person isolating themselves from you rather than taking your... Even, I think, if you come to them and say, hey, you've been stressed out lately, looks like you've put on some extra pounds, you want to go running with me sometime or whatever? I think something like that might work, I don't know.
Yeah, but even Alan asks, are you doing better? Or it's can I speak?
Well, so I think what he does might in some ways be the best, where he's like, okay, you will break down if I don't call you this when you're that or this when you're that. I don't think this is sane, and I think you need to get better, and I will tell you that. But while you're getting better, I will go along with your thing. The other thing is, for me, I've talked about this before, changing language feels very wrong. Because as I've said, language is descriptive, not prescriptive. So I don't care if you change personalities rapidly and change your hair color. This blob, I'm going to refer to that blob as Shalyn. I think is sort of how I see it. If I say Shalyn, I'm addressing your body, and if you're Vale at the time, okay, I can accept that you have multiple personalities. But your body is maybe she really maybe her posture.
I think her posture
to the point where you're this is a different person I'm dealing with.
It's weird because I was talking to a friend about changing their name. And they're saying I'm having trouble picking a new name because they really don't like their name.
Right.
And I was I don't feel like you are it feels wrong to me to choose your own name.
Dogs don't get to choose. Why should we?
Well, and they're oh, so only your parents should have a right? It's no, you shouldn't get to name yourself. I don't know why, but
I think only your parents should have a right, because here's the thing.
Well, I mean,
in English, a jar didn't get to choose to be called a jar. The English speaker chose to call it a jar. When you discover something, you can name it. And your parents discovered you.
It's weird.
My son shall be named Cameron was here.
New Cameron.
New Cameron. Victoria, in name of our great queen, God bless her. My son shall be called Elizabeth II, after our queen.
Elizabeth Jr.
Mount Everest, my son. Boy, no, what you do is mountain, Everest, right? Vancouver Island. Cameron Child.
It's a good thing that there's two people have to agree on a name.
Boy Cameron. Yeah. That's a shame, isn't it?
Maybe
you can pull a fast one on them when they're drugged. Just be hey, sign this. This is the kid's name, right?
Well, a good thing this is recorded. Anyways, back to the book.
What were we going to say?
So Kaladin, you think's really good?
Yes. I think he is the best representation of depression I've seen, because he is unable to act even though the correct action is obvious in some ways, but it is obscured in something else. In his case, it's in the fact that if he acts, he will fail to protect someone. And that is, he doesn't want to fail to protect someone. And so, ironically, he fails to protect people because he does nothing.
So, I guess spoilers? Can I say spoilers here?
How would we say... It's going to be a very short episode, I think, because we're running out of time. Like, another 15 minutes.
Yeah, this is more... like
so we can go, like, full spoilers, or...
All right, sure.
Okay. Sure, let's go. So, full spoilers for... What's the book called?
Words of Radiance.
Words of Radiance. No, Rhythm of War.
Rhythm of War, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, Words of Radiance is a few.
So, his oath...
Yeah.
broke me for a bit. And then, so I read it.
Yeah.
And then I broke down crying and couldn't keep on reading the book. And I cried for a good 10 minutes. And I don't know why.
I think that the greatest thing Sanderson has ever written is The Oath of the Knights Radiant. Journey Before Destination.
Yeah.
Life Before Death. Money Before... No.
Women. Bros before hoes.
But Journey Before Destination is
Strength Before Weakness.
Strength Before Weakness, Journey Before Destination, Life Before Death.
Yeah.
These are 3 fundamental truths of humanity.
Yeah.
They're not just the Knights Radiance in this book. These are massive ideas. And then the what are they called? The Windrunners.
Yeah.
Their oaths are: I will protect those who cannot protect themselves.
Yeah.
That's level 2.
Yeah.
What's level 3?
I will protect those...
Even when it's hard? Even when I don't want to?
I will protect those even that I hate, or something.
Right, that's level 3.
Yeah.
Level 4 is I accept that there are those I cannot protect.
Yeah.
And I think that all of these are incredibly powerful and important, especially the 4th ideal.
I'll say it's very powerful. I still don't know. I think it might be one of those things like seeing beautiful art, maybe.
I think what it is...
probably what made me break down.
It's,
because I can't really see it, that oath having a reflection in my life. Is there anyone I've failed to protect? Not really.
But it's not about protecting.
Yeah.
Because what it is... So something similar in Fafhrd and the Grey Mouser is Fafhrd takes an oath. I don't remember what the oath was even. And later in the book, he breaks the oath. He abandons it. And he says that oath was made by a boy. I am a man, and I've outgrown the need for the oath.
Yeah.
You have done this before, where you have said something like, I've taken an oath that I will never work in retail.
Yeah.
I think that there is a fundamental... So, Lirin, in the entire series, after book 1, becomes a man consumed by order. He thinks that if he follows a set of rules he has written out in his life, he will never again face pain.
Yeah.
Because all he has to do is heal anyone who needs healing. It doesn't matter who's in charge. He will not help any warriors. He'll not help a resistance. He will... but he won't sell out anyone either. He is a neutral party. He will heal those who are injured. His life has become simplified, and it is now the tyrant father from Maps of Meaning, Jordan Peterson's Maps of Meaning. That is what an oath is. It is a way to go on in life when you have no guidance.
Yeah.
However, all sufficiently complex sets are incomplete. That's mathematics.
Yeah.
No oath can contain the realities of life. Which means that at some point you have to leave the city and go out into the wilderness. You have to go into chaos.
Yeah.
That is what There Are Those I Cannot Protect is. This society has raised me, but it is not enough.
Yeah.
I need to go out and carve out new order within chaos. And so when he says there are those I cannot protect, I think what twigged in you there is probably a realization that the things that I hold dearest and true, I have to let go of. You have to let everything that you hold dear, you have to let go of and you have to give up on. Because there's a greater truth out there.
Yeah.
And so it's like, life isn't simple. Life is chaos and order combined.
Yeah.
This is actually somewhat related. I think you've talked about this, and I've talked about it. When I went off, we used to do a ton of stuff together when we were younger. You were my shadow, basically.
Yeah.
I went off on a trip in grade 11 to around Canada, sort of.
Yeah.
BC, mostly. When I got back, I said at the time and since, to a degree, we were never as close since then.
Yeah.
In the last couple of weeks, I think I was wrong. And the reason I think I'm wrong about that is if we were living in the Garden of Eden,
Yeah.
then there is nothing that demonstrates who you are. Like, you are nobody in the Garden of Eden.
Yeah.
It's once you leave the Garden of Eden that you determine who you are.
Yeah.
The yin-yang is much more powerful than the gray circle.
Yeah.
The sailor who drowns after 2 hours of battling the storm is greater than the scholar who stays on the beach, is a better swimmer. So I think that we had probably a more codependent, not necessarily too unhealthy, but there was no other option but to be together.
Yeah.
And so it was meaningless. And I think that, while we're doing this podcast, I think that that's the yin yang. It's the embracing the fact that there's chaos and order in life.
Yeah.
Instead of hiding in the Garden of Eden.
Well, I remember something very weird, which I was quite resentful at the time. I think it's our dad, might be our mom said it. But it's like, it's good that you two will be apart for a while. It'll give you a chance to grow. And I was very resentful of that.
Yeah.
I can't remember which one said it. It's probably our dad. But it's like, what the heck do you mean by that?
Yeah.
Like,
but to a degree, I guess it's there.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, just hearing that makes me want to now be like, no, it's terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, a statement like that is like...
Yeah, no, that is... There is wisdom, and there is wise words, and they are two different things.
Yeah.
Like, if it was our dad, let's say, he was probably right that, it'd be good for these kids to have some time to grow. Saying that is not right.
Yeah.
Moo. Unsay it. There are truths that cannot be expressed.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of examples like that. Like, not our dad, just like...
Yeah. Well, words of wisdom versus certain things. Like
people saying things and destroying the foundation of what it is. Like, okay, one thing that happened to us a lot as a kid was one day you'll, like, call your parents and say you're sorry, sort of thing.
Yeah.
I will never do that. Partly because of that.
Yeah.
But a parent who is a long-suffering parent, someone who says they are a martyr constantly, is not a martyr. They're insufferable. Because they are not suffering, they're taking it out on the person they're benefiting, who would rather they just stayed out of their life altogether.
I'll apologize if I have something to apologize for.
But it's more the fact of, like, oh, it's so difficult being a parent. If a parent says that to you, they've already failed. Because if it was so difficult, then why'd you give up? Like, it's not difficult, it's easy, because all you have to do is give up, and then you lose all your responsibility. If it's difficult, then you take your responsibility.
Yeah.
When your grandchildren are around, and your kids are asking you for advice, then you say, I didn't know what to do then, and it was a hard choice. You do not say in the moment to your kid, well, I did my best, and this is this, or you do not say to your kid something like, oh man, kids are terrible. They do all this, there's so much work, and they take stuff from you, and you lose your space. You can't have nice furniture. You don't say that to your kids. I realized recently that I've not had a home since I was 8, basically, because, well, except our dad's place, I think, to some degree.
Yeah.
But we had to move out of our home to go to our dad's place. But like our original home. But when I was in the original home, I was told constantly, when you have a place of your own, you can do that.
Yeah.
And I've realized recently that is a horrible thing to say to your kid. Like, you can tell them no, and you can tell them why it wouldn't work. But the fact that you're saying you have no say over what goes on in this house, you know what that means? That means you're a guest. It means you don't live there.
Actually,
your kid should be allowed to paint their room.
Yeah, the thing that Annika did.
Yeah.
It's actually like
she painted the ceiling black.
And the walls
Yeah. Like, but beyond that, a kid should be allowed to say, hey, can we get some flowers along the drive?
Yeah.
They should be allowed to do that because it's their house. They live there. And you're the parent. You don't have to give in to everything your kid says. But what you can say is, no, that wouldn't work because of this. Or even better, why? And then they say, oh, I just really like flowers. It's like, okay, we don't really have the money for that, or, it'd be a lot of work to plant them. How about this? You, you shovel our driveway, the neighbor's driveway, every day for the next, month, come winter, something like that. And we'll get you some flowers.
Yeah.
You give them a task that they are like, look, you're not making any money, so you can't ask me to spend money on you.
Yeah.
That's not fair. But if you contribute, I will pay you back because you live here. And so if you contribute to this place, then I will recognize that. Mm-hmm. Like, you take out the trash, I'll buy you a Switch. I mean, that's a bit disproportionate. But the idea of, as long as you show that you live here, then yeah, you can do that. Yeah. Like, hey, can I try... Oh, I really want to try this. It's like, not you'd burn it. Like, don't say to them, when you have a place of your own... No, be like, you might burn it if you do that. But if you do this, it might work. Mm-hmm. Give the kid responsibility over the place they live in. Or at least, explain it to them. So I think that, what's this even about? With Brandon Sanderson.
Just wisdom, words of wisdom. Things
I guess. Yeah, it's just, I don't even remember where that came from. But yeah, his other thing, like he was saying, like, who's better, the guy who swims in the storm or the guy who, like, oh, I think, different note because I totally forgot what we were going on, but,
I'm not going to dredge it up because it makes you angry.
Doesn't make me angry, it makes me passionate.
Yeah.
Actually, okay, before I forget, I've been wanting to do this for a while.
Yeah.
What's your 7 deadly sin? So you get to choose your top and your bottom, and you can have like a few others if you know them. I'll start. So my number 1 sin, wrath. My number 2, pride. And my number 7 is gluttony, I think. Mm. Gluttony actually repulses me. It's not something I want to do. Although sometimes things that you focus on are what you do the most. So like, I'm kind of gluttonous with my voice. Like, I mean, I'm actually actively hurting myself.
Yeah. Okay. I would say that my number 1 is gluttony.
Okay.
Then after that, probably greed. Then after that, wrath. Then probably pride. Then jealousy.
Envy.
Yeah, envy.
Yeah. Greed is jealousy.
Yeah, envy.
Sort of.
Then sloth.
And then lust.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't have done that. Now that's an interesting thing. Can you pick someone else's sins? Can you pick someone else's Hogwarts house? I don't think so.
Yeah.
Like, you can guess.
Mm-hmm.
But... And is that something you should ever say? Also, this is... Okay. You know what you should never say?
Yeah.
You know what your problem is.
Mm.
Terrible thing to say. Because this is where we were talking about fixing things.
Yeah.
Like, by the words of wisdom.
Yeah.
That's what we were talking about, right? It was like... Even if you know something... Like, okay, this person is a wrathful person. Never say, you know what your problem is, you're wrathful. Because at best, you're right and you're contributing nothing. But 99% of the time, you're wrong and you're making the situation worse.
Or you'll cause them to doubt themselves. And
every day, every moment, you have the choice to make the world better or worse. And in that instant, you're just making the world worse.
Yeah. Now, I'm curious, though, because what do you think...
For you?
Yeah.
I don't know if I should say, because...
what is... I don't know if it's a virtue or not. Or if we could do a list of virtues, but...
I could guess your Hogwarts house.
Okay,
let's see.
But before you even say that, I guess I am... making weird noises. I am very certain of myself.
Right.
I know where I am, and hearing other people's opinions can basically let me know what other people think of me. It's like, because I know who I am, but I don't know who people think I am.
So your virtue is pride?
not so much pride.
So it sounds like humility is down at
It's not... That's not humility. I think humility is knowing who you are. You don't...
But I think I think there's a recognition that you are wrong. Nobody knows who they are.
Yeah. But, okay, I think I know who I am better than anyone else.
Pride. Hufflepuff. No, I wouldn't put you in Hufflepuff, actually. Let's see. I wouldn't put you in Hufflepuff.
Why 4?
I'm
not average enough.
Well, no, it's... Moving on.
I'm not the rest.
Well, Hufflepuff's for the hard workers.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's your highest virtue. Or your highest calling, let's say. Because it's about what you want from yourself. It's not what you are.
Yeah.
Like, Neville isn't particularly brave, but he wants to be brave.
Yeah.
And I don't think hard work is your thingy.
No.
It gets tricky after that. So Slytherin is about the brightest. Now, you're weird because I think you do value intelligence. However, I think what you care more about is big numbers. Like, I think you would rather be the best at something, not be the smartest. So if being the smartest gives you the highest score on a test, then you'd be the smartest. But if being the fastest gave you the highest test on the score, then you'd rather be the fastest than the smartest. So for that reason, I'm going to eliminate Ravenclaw.
Because I'm not the smartest.
No.
Oh,
because your virtue isn't being the smartest.
Yeah.
Your aspiration isn't being the smartest.
Yeah.
I think you actually want to be the best. Because, like, you obsessed over, like, high school grades, for example. Whenever we played board games together, you'd want to win. Whenever we played computer games together, you'd want to win. However, my viewpoint is biased because I'm your older brother, and that's kind of what happens. But your school record shows, and your interactions with Romney especially, you wanted to beat him at everything. So that makes me lean towards Slytherin. Now, wanting to be brave is difficult to determine in someone else. Because unless you've been through pretty traumatic life experiences with them, you don't get to see them step up to the plate or try to step up to the plate often.
Yeah.
And it's hard to say what circumstances caused what. Like, you have dealt with bullies before, but is that because the situation demanded it, or because you thought, I need to do this, and is there a difference? 'Cause I think a component of bravery might be fear.
Yeah.
And not doing what is easy. Now, you, on the previous show, talked about how you talked about stealing and about lying and that sort of thing. And an effort to improve that is something that is... well, admitting something like that, I guess, is brave, but the wanting to improve yourself, I think, would be more of a Slytherin aspect.
Yeah.
I think Slytherins are the house of, like, self-help and self-improvement.
No wonder self-help's evil.
So, I would... If Harry is a Slytherin Gryffindor, and Hermione is a Ravenclaw Gryffindor, Ron is a pure Gryffindor, I think, and Neville is a Hufflepuff Gryffindor. Yeah, that makes sense. You, I would say, are a... It's a tie between Ravenclaw... I would put you heavier... Not Ravenclaw. I'd put you heavier towards Slytherin.
Yeah.
With potential for Gryffindor, because the person that gets the hat on their head gets to choose.
Yeah.
So what do you choose?
I don't like dungeons.
You don't like heights, though.
I do like living in high places, though.
What if they fall over?
Well, they better not.
The only place that doesn't live high up, actually, would be Hufflepuff.
I wouldn't want to live in Hufflepuff's house. It's on the ground floor.
It's by the kitchen.
Ooh.
It's on the 3rd floor, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Do you know about the game Mystery of Hogwarts?
Yeah.
So I picked Slytherin in that.
Have you gotten your Pottermore test?
I have. I don't remember the results.
Yeah, I'm a Gryffindor. With some lame animal Patronus.
Mine's lamer.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
What is it?
A mouse.
Oh.
I have a field mouse as my Patronus.
I don't remember what mine is.
My second Pottermore account, however.
Where I chose the right answers.
Yes.
And what are you in Pokemon Mystery Dungeon? And what class are you in Daggerfall?
In Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, I am a Eevee.
Through answers or...
Answers.
Really?
Yep. In the game where you could be Eevee. In the one where you could only be 3 Pokemon, I'm a Torchic. You can only be Mudkip, Torchic, and the Leaf one. But in the better one...
Banana Face.
In the better one, I'm
that's a different one.
Eevee.
So, what house?
Um,
You want to be the best? You care about improving yourself? You want to be brave? You care about braving yourself?
it's very hard between Gryffindor and Slytherin.
Hmm.
And I think part of it comes from the not wanting to be in Gryffindor.
Right.
Because everyone's in Gryffindor.
Right.
Um,
I don't know. I think there's a lot of cowards.
hmm.
A lot of cowards.
See,
I think it's to do with connotations. You have to remove Hogwarts from the equation. Because Gryffindor's the cool one.
I don't see myself as a coward.
Yeah.
Um,
Snape was a Slytherin.
and I don't.
He's the bravest man of them.
I don't know if I'm brave. I think I am,
Yeah.
but I don't know.
But it doesn't matter if you're brave or not. Do you want to be brave?
I do want to be brave.
Do you want, whenever there's a situation where you should speak up, to speak up?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to be brave.
And is that more important to you than improving yourself? They're kind of intertwined.
Yeah.
But
You are right, though. I do want to be the best.
I think...
But it's almost like that statement of...
like Ash is a Slytherin.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the... I accept that those aren't... there are those that I can't protect.
Yeah.
I have accepted in a way that there's some things I will not be the best at. But I can still try to be good at what I'm doing.
I think I didn't touch enough on the... I accept there are things that I cannot protect.
Yeah.
Like, on how powerful that is.
Yeah.
Because, like, I just don't think I'm capable of it without thinking about it more.
Yeah.
Like, because I don't think I fully encapsulated what makes it so powerful. But it is very powerful.
Yeah.
I just wanted to state that. Like, that is not the end of that conversation, I don't think.
Yeah.
I think that is a very,
Um,
very powerful moment in the entire book.
I think probably I'd be Slytherin, but I'd be like a Slytherin, like you said, I'd probably be a Slytherin Gryffindor.
Yeah.
Because the hat would probably go, "Oh, you have potential for greatness, but you're also very brave," or whatever.
Well, I think, here's how I see it, right? In Slytherin, you can want to be brave and smart and strong.
Yeah.
Whereas in Gryffindor, the other things are secondary.
Yeah.
And,
We'll leave it.
yeah, it's supper time, so we'll have to just continue Harry Potter talk another time.
Yeah.
And, yeah, shorter one, but take care and all that. And, who? Yeah, you take care. Read some Brandon Sanderson. Read The Way of Kings.
Read some Harry Potter.
Read Harry Potter. It's the best. But seriously, Radiance, Vow, best thing in fiction. Even if you plan to never read it, just look it up because it's so good. And yeah, that's that. Yeah, I hope you have a good life.